Hey, this is John Thurman, and welcome to Brain Tricks, how to turn negative thinking into positive outcomes. Do you know there was a piece of research released this summer from Queen's College in UK, which stated that you and I average 6,200 thoughts a day. That's right, 6,200 thoughts a day. Now, there's a lot of talk out there about, 20,000 or 70,000, but these neuroscientists actually map the brain to find out the average person has 6,200 thoughts a day. Kind of mind-boggling, isn't it? And you know what other research tells us? That between 60 and 80% of those thoughts are negative. They are joy stealers, they are dream busters, they are self-esteem saboteurs. They're things that really rob us of life and really enjoying the life that I believe that we were intended to live. So today in this free short class, I'm going to give you some practical tools that you can use to arrest those thoughts, to take those thoughts captive, to see them for what they are and reframe them and have some really significantly positive outcomes as you do that. And so we're going to talk about brain training here. And what I mean about brain training is that I want to show you how to identify negative thinking patterns. Secondly, how to understand a very simple tool that you can use to help you identify these patterns. And then thirdly, I'm going to empower you to turn negative thoughts into powerful, positive, resilient outcomes. You interested? Well, let's go. Well, how are we going to do this? You might be saying, John, how on earth are we going to do this? Well, first of all, we're going to look at two fairly typical stressful events. And then I'm going to explain the ATC process that comes out of Albert Ellis's work and work with Marty Seligman and others in the areas of resilience and cognitive behavioral therapy and positive psychology. And then I'm going to demonstrate you how to improve your moods by changing your thoughts. Are you ready? Let's take a look. Well, the first illustration is a bad hair day. Now, you can look at mine and see that I've never had a bad hair day. However, I'm married and I have a daughter. And it's so interesting, ladies, when ladies and some guys have a bad hair day. Because when that bad hair day hits, you immediately go, oh my gosh, I hate my hair. If I could cut it off, I'd buy a wig. There's a thought sequence that kicks in, and it's pretty much automatic. So we've got that bad hair day. We're kind of freaking out because the old hair doesn't look right and you're feeling weird. So what happens? You freak out. Now, let's flip that and let's say you wake up and have a great hair day. Now, those of us who are follically challenged have great hair days every day. But let's say the hair is working. Well, if you readjust that thought sequence, some days you realize some days the hair just doesn't cooperate with me. Other days it works perfectly. I feel confident. I look good. I smell good. I act good. I feel great. And if it doesn't turn out quite right, rather than getting all tore up and shook up about it, is I just go, you know what? I'm going to relax and do the best I can today. So you see there's that trigger, that trigger event. My hair's not cooperating. I have no control over it. Some days it's good, some days not so good, right? That trigger kicks in, there's a thought, and that thought is like, my hair is awful. I don't even want to try. That thought will always produce a consequence, which is twofold. First of all, there's a feeling, and then there's a behavior. Well, let's take another great one. Have you ever been at work and right before quitting time, you get an email from your boss that says, I need to see you first thing tomorrow morning. What's the first thing that goes through your mind? And when was the last time that happened to you? Well, I tell you, it's never fun, is it? Because you're thinking, oh my gosh, what happened? Why, what's going on? Why did he send me that email? And you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, he wants to chew me out. Oh my gosh, he's going to fire me. And if he fires me, what am I going to do? I mean, I've survived COVID so far, but oh my goodness, if he fires me, I'll be lost. How will I provide for my family? What about my benefits? What about my insurance? And so all night long, your brain is just going Mach 3 as you're peeling the paint, so to speak, trying to figure out what he wants because you're dreading it might be really bad. You see, that activating event, that trigger which you have no control over, is followed by that thought, and that thought is automatic. And then there's a consequence, and that consequence is you have a feeling, and that feeling is panic, fear, dread. And so your behavior follows that. You freak out. You tell your wife or your significant other that, oh my gosh, this bad stuff's going to happen. And pretty much you're all tied up in knots and feeling a little bit crazy. But let's say you get in there and the boss says, hey, I just want to tell you first thing today that I'm proud of you. You are such a valued asset to this team. We couldn't do the work without you. And also, I want to give you a little bit of raise. I just want to thank you because you're the type of employee that we wish everybody could be. And so when you get that compliment, all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, he thinks I'm pretty special. And what do you do when you leave his office? Well, you kind of go, well, I appreciate it, boss. But inside, you're popping buttons. You're so proud. You feel so good. You feel so confident. And then you go, oh, my goodness, why did I burn up all that energy worrying about how this might have been? Well, between you and I, it would have been better if he had sent the email first thing in the morning and asked you to come right in, right? Hey, so let's talk about the ATCs. And I'll give you some definitions here. And if you can just grasp this, you're going to find this very, very helpful. Because really, in my counseling practice and in my work-life coaching practice, I talk to people about this all day long. And when it finally connects and clicks, when someone goes, oh, I need to be more aware of my triggers, and I need to manage my thinking better for better outcomes. I'm like, yeah, right. So let's look at them. Well, first of all, the ATCs. Here's the process. There's an activating event or a trigger. That is immediately followed by a thought or a belief, which is usually automatic and more often than not, like 60 to 80% of the time, is irrational. And when you have those thoughts, they are immediately followed by a consequence. The consequence has two pieces to it. The first is that you have a feeling. And the second thing is you have some type of emotional response. For example, if I'm driving in traffic with my grandsons in the back seat and some bozo cuts in front of me, my first thought is not, thank you, Jesus. My first thought is, you moron, if I could condemn you and your car to hell right now, I would, because you put my grandsons in danger, in mortal danger. Well, after a few seconds, I realized they were distracted. They had no intent to kill me. They were just distracted. Have you ever been distracted as a driver? I know I have. So I let it pass. Instead I go, well, Lord, give him a great day. Get him safely to work. And whew, thanks for nothing happening. So these things happen all the time. And what we tend to do is just not deal with them. And when we don't deal with them, they bite us. So let's look at an activating event or a trigger. That can be a recurring problem. That can be a negative event. That can be a recall of some trauma in your life, of something that hurt you, or maybe it was a real adversity. It can be a disagreement, but it can also be a challenge, which can be positive, or a positive event or a good memory. And then if you look at the thoughts are that immediate, in the heat of the moment thought. It's what you say to yourself and what you believe about yourself. You know, if you didn't do good on an exam or you didn't do good in an interview, you'll go, oh man, I'm such a loser. I don't know why I even tried. Who would even want to hire me? We get on that downward spiral, and man, it gets you nowhere happy. And so that when you have that event, the thought is immediate, and it's that heat of the moment thought. I'd be curious right now, as you're hearing me, what is your heat of the moment thought? So that thought comes, and it comes hard and fast, and it's usually irrational. That's followed by a consequence. And that consequence is that immediate reaction to the trigger. And it shows up as some type of emotional consequence. Worst case, you act out, you flip them off, you get torn up all over the event, and you're just not fun to be around because you're really PO'd and ticked off. Best case, hey, it's all good, it's cool, good outcomes and good actions. So you see, it can go either way. So some examples. When you lose someone, when you lose a relationship, when you lose a pet, when you lose a promotion, when you have any type of loss, a normal response is sadness, which could be in any form of grief or type of grief reaction. And when we get angry, the results of the anger is typically I'm either aggressive, agitated, or anxious. Just a little side note here. Anxiety is always about fear of loss of control over future events. And anger is always about me feeling that my rights have been violated. On the other hand, it can be a positive thing like appreciation. And when someone appreciates you, you feel gratitude and you have a real desire to give back and pass that gratitude around. By the way, if you struggle with anxiety or depression, having an attitude of gratitude and making a gratitude list is a great way to promote good feelings, to lower your anxiety, increase the good feelings, and push back your depression. And then finally, if you have a positive future, if you have hope, that's energizing action. So if you can take that thought, see it for what it is, reframe it, put it in the right place, and turn it to a positive thought, it'll build your self-esteem, it'll enhance your confidence, it'll eliminate your loneliness, and it'll help you have clearer thoughts and feel better pretty much about anything you can feel good about in life. So what are the next steps? Well, the key here, as I tell my clients, is to understand your triggers. Resilience is all about being able to push forward despite adversity. Resilience is all about being able to deal with adversity without any types of debilitating symptoms such as depression, anxiety, and anger showing up. Resilience is all about being where you are and making the best out of a situation. Part of that resilience piece is a thing called resistance. Those of us who are members of the community of faith have heard sermons on resist the devil and he'll flee from you. Well, the idea here is that sometimes I know when I'm going to be triggered, and I need to actively resist those trigger points. Instead of freaking out when I have a bad hair day, I need to go, some days I have a bad hair day, and on those days, I'm just going to adjust. Other days, you really may feel like if you're in sales, like, man, I'm off my game. I didn't make my numbers today. Well, you didn't make your numbers today. That doesn't mean you're not going to make them tomorrow. So learn to really understand the triggers. The second thing, and this is so important because we become an age of blame somebody else. When in doubt, shift blame. The truth is only one person's responsible for the way you think, and that is you. That's right, you. Third thing, make a choice to change your thought life and expect better outcomes. This is work, folks. This is something you have to intentionally engage in. And if you need help, get help. If you need to talk to me, because I'm a therapist and a work-life consultant, I can see you in New Mexico. I can see you in person if you live here, or we can do it virtually. As a work-life coach and therapist, I have over 54,000 hours of helping people. Learn how to change your thinking. Maybe I can help you. If not, you can check with a therapist in your area or some type of work-life coach who can help you out. I so want you to get this, and I'd love to help you. And if I'm not your guy, find someone else. Here's my contact information. If you'd like to talk and get a free consultation, you can call me and leave a voicemail at 505-343-2011. That number, once again, is 505-343-2011. Or you can email me at john@johnthurman, THURMAN.info, or go to my website, johnthurman.info. Thanks a lot. I hope that you'll engage in your thought life today, that you'll take that negativity of anywhere from 60 to 80% and start whacking it down. Chop it down, push it down where it's more manageable. May God bless you. I hope you can learn to walk circumspectly. I hope you learn to spot those negative thought patterns and just take them over with good thoughts, positive thinking, and great alternatives. Take care. God bless. Have an exceptional day.